This is episode 161. My goodness. I always say that every time.
How fruit flies when we're having fun.
Exactly. I did have some fruit, but I didn't see any flies on it. Some cantaloupe. I like cantaloupes, especially in this time.
Like Christopher Walken in True Romance. And you cantaloupe. That was a wonderful movie. Go check it out. Best thing Tarantino ever wrote.
I've only seen it once, but I've kind of kicked myself in the foot. I haven't kicked myself in the butt, as they say. I haven't had the chance to watch it again. But now that you bring it up, I'll definitely put it on my list to watch it again. That was a lot of. I mean, it's just much like the Tarantino's writing, always flourishing there, and then just there was a lot of great actors and a lot of great performances in there. So I really excelled at writing to the moon. Fly me to the moon.
Yeah. I every time I think of Fly Me to the Moon, I think of Bayonetta, because they had one of those. It's one of the songs, but apparently they had like 30 different singers like sing that same song over and over again, for different parts of the game. So apparently every single time you're listening to a Fly Me to the Moon version in Bayonetta, it's a completely different band or a completely different singer for it, which is just fascinating to me.
Yeah. I mean, they always had incredible music in Bayonetta. I mean, especially in like some mainly Japanese games, they got some pretty good tastes in music, and they always like do something a little unorthodox that you don't really, would think about too often. Like how often would you even think about a song like Moon River or Fly Me to the Moon to make it into kind of this J-pop song in a beat 'em up video game about a strong female protagonist. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Who summons demons with her hair. That's brilliant.
I mean, the greatest thing ever,
They certainly have some pretty good ideas kicking on around in the Japanese developers' heads.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully with everything that's been going on, we'll get another sequel to that for sure. Hopefully, I think I don't know how well sales-wise the second Bayonetta did, but it was definitely, I would say, it was a pretty good opposition by Nintendo, because it was one of those games that it did, as much as people praised it, it didn't really sell enough to really warrant a sequel originally. That's why I ended up getting being on Nintendo, with Nintendo getting kind of the right, almost like pretty much publishing rights. They pretty much funded the game to kind of boost up their catalog of games for the Wii U, which I would say is a much better catalog than what's out right now at PS4 and Xbox One. So it benefited them in a sense. Now they got the amiibo market there, trying to get that going.
They are running the gambit of money making, not schemes but plans. If Nintendo was a religion, they certainly would be one of the top tier ones. They'd be the ones who everybody questions, like, well, I don't know. I mean, they got loyal supporters, but you know what? I think I will join that religion. That seems pretty good.
So, how have you been, CH? How's the world of video games and life been treating you?
Video games treat me well, as always. I've been playing Dark Souls. I don't get very far before crying in a corner and then realizing that I'll never ever complete the game. And I also got through a little bit of Banjo-Kazooie and the Gears of War Judgment game.
Oh my goodness.
It was free for all Xbox Live Gold users, so I just downloaded it, and I think I'll give a review of it after, just a quick little thing. And it's an interesting franchise, the Gears of War, and I've been up and down in terms of perception, but be happy to talk about it today.
Oh, absolutely. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. I mean, I never played much, or I haven't really played any of the Gears of War games, but that's been one of the series I've been wanting to get into for a while. Now that we have this kind of pseudo gaming drought. You know, it was one of the things that I was interested in playing and going back to, but I just haven't really had the time to do it. It's just that my 360 at this point has been I think collecting dust. It's insane.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I spent so many years with it. I have so many games for this console that I don't want to give up because I have such fond memories of playing such a great catalog of games on the 360. I've just been lending them to my girlfriend. She's been
Nice. That's a healthy relationship right there.
It is, and I'm like her Blockbuster at this point, you know. Except I don't charge her for late fees, and I don't get mad for like late or Be Kind and Rewind those games.
Blockbuster burn.
But yeah, she's been pretty much playing a lot of the games that I have just from my personal catalog. She played some Tomb Raider. She beat that, and then she's
Very nice.
You know, she really loved playing and beating BioShock for the first time because she's played it before, but she just I think she got stuck at some point and then never played it again. It was like me when I first played it, where I got stuck at a point where the game it glitched out on me. I couldn't proceed any further, and then I didn't want to go all of a sudden just start over again. But I ended up doing it a few months down the line, and you know, I didn't have any regrets in replaying it again. It's just at the time I just didn't want to go back and replay the whole thing because I was pretty good. That was a pretty good far in to that game, and then there was this point where you had to go through this vent, and it didn't it didn't highlight. I couldn't do anything. It was one of those things, and you know, she's played BioShock. She loves it, and
please tell her I completely endorse her desire for marriage just because she loves BioShock, so that gets the check mark, and go on ahead, man.
Check. Yes, very check. and BioShock Infinite, she's played and beaten that, loves it. So she's kind of a bit I wouldn't say sad but she's kind of lukewarm about having to beat it because she really likes the series, and she doesn't really. She wants to play more of it, but since like the whole kind of dismemberment of disbandment of
Dismemberment's probably a better word, because of how Ken Levine left things.
Yeah, pretty much just closed down the studio, and I don't know for what the reason was, but I think just
artistic reasons.
It was mainly artistic reasons, which you know, more power to them. But I think I think it was one of those things where they ended on such a high note with Infinite. I don't know if they would be able to even surpass kind of what they'd done. I'm sure they could, or just do something else, because they don't necessarily have to make another BioShock. I think they did a lot there to kind of wrap things up. But yeah, she's a bit, you know, sad about not playing any more BioShock. She still has yet to play BioShock 2, so maybe she'll get onto that.
Oh man.
And some of the BioShock Infinite DLC I did tell her about as well, so we shall see.
I fully endorse her addiction to the BioShock franchise. Like me, I love to see a fellow shockhead, and I hope that she does get to experience some BioShock 2. I would really recommend it. I love, you know me, I'm completely head over heels in love with that series. And I would definitely say BioShock 2. BioShock 2 is probably the most emotional of the series. And I'd be more than happy to give it my recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, that's one that I haven't played either. But, you know, I've certainly heard good things about it. And also you've discussed it before, and how it's mainly the DLC was mainly like the high point of that. Minerva's Den was the high point of that BioShock 2. So I definitely like to play it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, you know, and this might be a little bit heresy, but I think that Minerva's Den was a bit more of a fitting goodbye than Burial at Sea in terms of saying goodbye to Rapture. And I mean, I still really, really enjoyed Burial at Sea. Just for me, I kind of prefer Minerva's Den as the kind of swan song of the whole Rapture endeavor.
Yeah, it also didn't necessarily help too much that the DLC was like $15 a pop. I don't know if it still is.
Oh yeah. Oh god, no, that was a mistake. They should have kept it a little bit cheaper, especially since the first one was kind of short and didn't add a whole lot, and it was a bit strange in terms of the elements of like the ammo and the powers rejiggering, but they just managed to. It was a pretty solid experience, but just a little bit high for the price tag.
Yeah, I think it would have benefited if they just combined the two and have it be one price, maybe $15 for those two, or if they were like meshed into one, would have been a little bit better. Because some DLC, especially if you're gonna be paying the same price, you would think you'd get the most out of it in terms like of length and just content, but it just seems that it was just they didn't even really offer that for the warrant that amount for the price tag for that first episode, anyways. But yeah, maybe we'll get kind of a game of the year or definitive edition of BioShock in the near future. Maybe not, but we'll combine everything in one disc.
They actually do have that. I was looking at Amazon the other day, and they have a double pack of Bioshock 1 and 2 with all the DLC stuff, and they're going pretty cheap now, especially with used games. So I would recommend that category if you're interested.
Well, that's good, especially since it came out on the previous generation platform. It'll definitely be substantially beneficial to get it price wise now that 360 and PS3 are kind of getting slightly phased out now. At this point, it's gonna this year is gonna be the time to really probably convert and get in on some of the new games out for this year, especially so far what we've had with leading into some Bloodborne and in a few weeks some MKX. Yeah. Ooh, I'm excited about that.
I love the amount I love that series is irredeemably insane, because like I know it's not well told stories, but for some reason there's just something that gravitates me. Just like it's like a blood soaked version of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm A-okay with that.
Yeah, it's not like it's trying to be anything that it's not. That's been one of the games that's been near and dear to me. I haven't played all of them. I won't admit to that, but it was, as I mentioned, it was my first game on the PlayStation. So playing Mortal Kombat 4, I remember.
Ooh.
I remember that was like my first M-rated game at the time. That was insane, and I'm okay. You see.
Well, I mean, you haven't snapped yet, so we'll keep an eye out for you. But Mortal Kombat is one of those huge staple marks. It's just as big as I would say, just as big as Tomb Raider, as big as Mario. Scorpion is one of the most popular characters. Like, people can recognize him off the street. Maybe not as much as Mario, but it's in the public eye, and people know it by reputation of just being like. When people say fatality, most of them are going to think Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat and Johnny Cage. Nut punching.
Johnny Cage, I just love the fact that like they go absurd with the art style, and they are unapologetic, because like in the last game, Mortal Kombat 9, they had Johnny Cage with his glasses, and every time he would like you have not destructible characters, but characters who took damage. So if Johnny Cage took enough damage in the first round of the fight, his glasses would get knocked off. And then in between the fight, if he won, then he'd put another set of glasses back on. And he has the word Johnny tattooed on his chest, and Cage is on his belt buckle. It's like, I love just how audacious this game is.
Yeah, I like that aspect as kind of the degradation of the fighter throughout the fight, depending on like the parts of the body you hit, it'll just take damage, immensely or not at all, depending, how everything goes before the final. It's funny, like you mentioned, he put a new pair of glasses on top of his broken ones. The funniest thing ever. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. There's definitely some also good potential DLC. I don't. There's a lot. There's a lot to it. And I know that some people gave it flack for being a bit. I think it was like $30 for the DLC if you get the whole pack. But it comes
for the whole season pass.
Yeah, practically it's almost a game and a half. From what I've seen, there's definitely a lot of content, a lot of costume skins, a lot of there's gonna be a lot more content than you think. But the fighter adding, I don't know how many fighters. I think it was like 3 or 5, something like that. But it was an addition. It's an additional amount of characters. Some of them I particularly wouldn't buy. I wouldn't buy Jason. It doesn't really really appeal to me. It's more like a Halloween kind of edition. Halloween edition character on there. But Predator makes sense to be in there. I don't have a problem
because he's got projectiles and he can get up close. And I mean, with Jason, it's just like, okay, the machete. Like, I don't know what his projectile is going to be. It's just like a severed teenage kid's head, maybe.
Well, he's with the projectiles and everything. It's gonna be the replacement for like Noob Saibot and the other guy. Because since they're not in it, Steve Arome in the chat is we got 4 characters and 19 skins for that whole pack. So I think it's a considerable amount, and if you break it down, I think it does add up. I see it here. And plus, you got to remember that each character has 3 variations, so there's going to be triple the content there.
Depending on it, just because of you remember. I don't know if you played. I don't know if it was Deadly Alliance or Deception or maybe Armageddon too. But it was like you have one character and they'd have 3 different styles. Like Reptile would have Jeet Kune Do, this other thing, and then a sword. And then that kind of muddled up. It was a problem with Mortal Kombat where they added so much content that it muddled at the actual fighting mechanics, and it started to get less interesting and fun. And that's what I really did like about Mortal Kombat 9 with the reboot, that they had it as it was just kind of their fighting style and just very simple, very clean. And I mean I don't know if it's going to be like that. I don't know if you actually choose the variations before or while you're in combat, but it's I hope it works well.
Yeah, I've actually seen some gameplay. You can choose the variations before you play. So there's 3 different variations. They'll have kind of their own particular style. I don't remember exactly what the 3 variations are for the characters, but I mean that is
one of them for Johnny Cage is A-list. I love that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Work for him. I like this is very small, but I like the character selection screen. How you select, you highlight over the character, and then you get like a 3D model of them, kind of doing their like gesturing and motions. I like that. That's kind of the thing they used to do in wrestling. Maybe that's why it appeals to me, because they used to have that, but now that they just have like still images of the fighters. But I like this. I like that little touch to it. So that's one of the things. As little as that is, it kind of it kind of warms my heart seeing that. It's kind of cool.
Can you smell what Scorpion is cooking?
He's cooking hellfire and brimstone and burning someone's ass.
I absolutely. If you ever check out a video, it's called Scorpion Cooking with Scorpion, and it's just like this 30-second little cooking advertisement.
Oh, okay.
Back in the early 2000s, where they just decided to have Scorpion decide to have a cooking show, and it's pretty fun. And apparently a fan series of it. So hey, right there, the Splinter Cell fan series is pretty darn good, but this one's good too.
That's very good. What also is good, now that I see what Steve posted here, it looks like we may be getting a Deus Ex Human Revolution sequel, which has very good potential here. From what I see here, there's some images on here on Kotaku. There's some leaked images of what looks to be the new Deus Ex game. got some good potential. I really liked Deus Ex: Human Revolution. There was a good mix of like stealth and RPG, and also it just kind of allowed you to customize your characters to a certain point. I know with the directors, so they fixed this because some of the certain bosses were kind of not were I wouldn't say broken, but they weren't designed with the kind of stealth aspect in mind, especially at the beginning.
Yeah,
beginning boss. You know, he's very combat heavy.
Oh gosh, that to hell with that boss. I did mostly non-lethal stealth, so going against that boss was a pain in the butt.
It was, and that's kind of the things they rectify. I never got to play the director's cut, so I don't know how different it is or how the situation unfolds, but I've been curious to see that unfold as well. But it's been said to kind of fix that, and also a whole lot of other boss battles that may have been not as well designed with just different play styles in mind. So this is very cool. This very I like some of the images I see here. It mainly just looks like it's just mainly art
concept
design,
art and
concept
stuff.
art. But yeah, I don't know if it'll be the same character in this, but from this image, it may look like it. Adam Jensen, and seeing how the endings happened in the Deus Ex game, it could go either way. I guess you may be in it.
I heard.
You may not.
Yeah, I actually heard that apparently it's not going to be canonical to any of the endings, but it could just be a silly leak. Like that's not actually what's going to happen. But I loved Deus Ex: Human Revolution 2. I think the boss battles. I don't think it's really the developers' fault because it is incredibly hard to balance. Any type of game. Like, for instance, I'm still floored at Splinter Cell Blacklist, always coming back to Splinter Cell, but I'm still floored at how amazingly they were able to balance all the different play styles throughout the entire game and make every single one feel legitimate, whereas you want the bosses to feel big and epic, so you pump up their HP, and you can't really take them down as much as any of the other mercenaries walking around, but so they learned with the director's cut. Apparently, I haven't played it, but it sounds like they rectified that well. And I'm sure as heck looking forward to the sequel, just because I absolutely loved the universe. I loved the themes and the topics it brought up of post-humanism, and I really, really hope it turns out to be a great game. And unlike to borrow and then distort a quote from Adam Jensen, the first game, I always asked for this.
Well, aw, shit, Captain.
Oh my gosh, I really hope they bring her back unironically. Just like all the for those of you who don't know, there is an informant Adam Jensen has on the street, and this particular woman seems to delve into Uncle Tom level of just African American stereotypical buffoonery. Like there's black characters in there who are well defined. And both black men and black women who are absolutely, great characters. And then you come to this informant, and she is a cartoon. And like, oh, we'll see you, Captain. And it's just like, I don't know why this is in here, but I don't feel like they intentionally knew what they were doing. It's just like, well, we kind of hired this voice actress and we didn't know it was going to turn out like this, so we might as well just use her. I hope they bring her back, and I hope she is just as insanely weird as ever, and then just everyone commenting like, why did we invite her back? I don't know.
It seemed like it was just like a first take that they decided to go with. Yeah, it was weird. That was like one of the things that it took me by surprise. Like the whole game was played pretty straightforward, straight faced, and then you get that little scene with her like rummaging through the garbage, and then just saying, sounded like something out of just a stereotypical like 40s like interpretation of like how black people would speak. It was insane.
Maybe they'll get maybe as each sequel of Deus Ex goes on, they have like a new stereotype of black people from every generation. So like the next one is like the 70s Shaft era, where it's like, you damn hunkies, time for me to throw down trying for me to catch what I'm throwing down. You dig? Like I really want that like 70s Luke Cage type of crazy blaxploitation. Let's have Shaft in there.
Ving Rhames going medieval on your ass.
Motherfucker.
Well, Steve Rome here with the links. He's got this this post on NeoGaf. You know, NeoGaf's always on top of things here. We got a little GIF of some footage of what appears to be a CGI trailer with Adam Jensen included. So there you go.
I'm watching this right now. Wow, that is some beautiful.
Ooh, it looks nice.
Cutscenes that are, you know, it's Square Enix. It's not. This is not what the gameplay is going to look like. You know what's funny? It's just that, you know, for the trailers for Deus Ex, Human Revolution, they had the scene where Adam Jensen punches his shower mirror, and that's actually seen in game. I like the fact that they make kind of story elements in the trailers that actually reflect in game, even though the game doesn't look anything like it. They actually connect it into each other, and you know, the only other time I've kind of seen that happen was with the BioShock Infinite beta trailer, where they had Elizabeth, who was a very different looking model, show up at the end of the Infinite game. I won't spoil how or why, but you know, it's just very interesting to see how it connects.
Yeah, that's their trailers for Deus Ex have been really good. I like the CGI trailers for it, especially the one where I think it was probably like the early trailers, maybe in the E3 trailer, but it's kind of, there is some like symbolism going on there, and I think it was also like a dream sequence, but it was Adam Jensen on a table, and it's kind of like this reinterpretation of this. I forgot what the painting was, but it was like they were examining him. There's
Icarus?
it was like Icarus. You know, a bunch of dudes examining him, and then these you see him like I think fly out of his body with angel wings and flying up to the sun. So it was pretty cool. It was a good trailer. I'd rather see video game movies be made like this. I don't know how cost effective these are or how long these take to make with these trailers, but a full-length feature film would be pretty nice. Nice.
I mean, Square Enix and you know, Square Enix did that big Final Fantasy movie where they got James Woods to be the voice of the bad guy, and you know, it's really unfortunate that the name Final Fantasy was in there, because that just got everyone's expectations for a certain thing. It didn't really turn out to be that, but you know, they could still make these animated movies, and you know, Square Enix and Blur, I think they make really, really awesome, you know, pre-rendered cinematic cutscenes like this, and that I would love to see this be focused on more, and seeing you know, more like Advent Children or more, you know, 2-hour-long stories like this where they actually commission Square Enix or Blur to make a movie.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Steve Rome isn't Cargill writing for a Deus Ex movie, and yeah, he is actually. He is apparently, he and the guy who directed, was it Insidious or Sinister?
It was Sinister. Yes, with shit. Yeah, it was just another horror movie. Yeah, that he's working with the guy who directed it with that guy. I forget his name.
They're working on the Doctor Strange movie. Yeah, Ethan Hawke. Yeah. Yep, I'm not sure, but yeah, Ethan Hawke was in the film, and Cargill and the director are teaming up for a Doctor Strange film, and apparently they're supposed to be teaming up for a Deus Ex movie. And you know, funnily enough, I asked a question for the League of Extremely Ordinary Gentlemen on Spill when I was back on, and it was answering essentially, you know, how Deus Ex Human Revolution is a very open-ended world, and how do you kind of boil that down to a very linear experience. And he actually said that he would be focusing on a lot of elements that weren't in the game, so that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, we'll see how it pans out. I mean, it's only been in development, and we haven't really heard much about it. since. It's almost the same as right now, with the Assassin's Creed movie and the Splinter Cell movie. We haven't heard much about it. Getting our hopes up yet again, just like the that infamous teaser trailer in the main menu of Chaos Theory. It's like, this is a movie. There's a movie. What? And they got
back in 2006. I was frothing at the mouth, but it's like, oh my God, Sam Fisher. It's gonna be a movie. Wow.
Yeah, and then it just pretty much got an intern put the goggles on, and they filmed it in the dark, and that was just supposed to be like Sam Fisher turning his night vision goggles on, and that's it. That was everything we got in that trailer.
It's amazing just how pumped up fans can be, and just see the littlest thing and be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because I'm pretty sure they just like duct taped 3 lights to a guy's head and then just like turned them all on at the same time. It's like, don't worry, we'll put a green hue on it in post. That'll be it. Pretty
much. So yeah, I guess we could talk a little bit about what we've been playing. Also, I actually was thinking about this. Maybe I haven't had that enough time to look into this deeper, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it. I know that we've talked about the whole Kojima and Konami thing going down with evidently Kojima more than likely leaving Konami. I don't know what the reasons were, but one of the things that came to mind was, I'm sure there's other elements that may be attributed to his departure, but one of the things that I'm thinking maybe what's going on is, since Konami is not really doing that great in terms of like sales and everything, the way I see it, maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I don't have the whole facts or data to back it up. But I know that that Kojima is very particular about making these Metal Gear Solid games, and it usually takes a while, and there's a lot of resources spent to put these games together. So one of the things that I'm thinking maybe going on is it's probably like maybe Kojima spending too much money and not really profiting as much in return. Like, I know that the Metal Gear Solid games are very highly praised, but usually in terms of a lot of games that gain critical praise, they're not necessarily big money makers. Case in point, we talked about a little bit of Bayonetta, and then there was Enslaved from Ninja Theory. It was very highly acclaimed, but it didn't do enough for warrant a sequel. There's a whole, the list goes on.
Psychonauts, Beyond Good and Evil, Brutal Legend, essentially anything Tim Schafer touches. But yeah, there's like a lot of really great games. Jade Empire, where all these great games.
Yeah, and I was looking here through the videogamecharts.com. I was looking at, it doesn't give us an exact estimate, or it just gives us units. But as I mentioned, Kojima usually takes a few years to make these games. It's not like a yearly thing like Assassin's Creed is. God, I hope that doesn't end up happening with this series. But let's take a look here.
It's getting damn close.
Yeah. So the first Metal Gear Solid came out in #98, and that shipped out or made about it sold about 3.18 units. Now, if we got to do some math here, but if we times that 3.8 million units times probably the amount it was back then. I don't know if it was $60 back then, but
I think $50.
Yeah, you kind of get a little bit of an estimate here, but I'll whip out the old calculator here.
Gotcha.
Basically, what I'm getting at here is that they do make money, but I don't know if they're making as much to gain a profit, just to equal everything out. I know that companies or developers like Rockstar, they do take their time with making the games, but they do make a whole lot in return and for the amount of money they spend on it.
Oh yeah.
So what I'm getting at is that could be a reason too. So Metal Gear Solid 1 came out in '98, and Metal Gear Solid 2 came out in 2001, so that's a 3-year difference. The second one didn't make as much as the first one. The second game was 2.45 million units, and then we have Snake Eater, it came out in 2004, so another 3-year difference, and that sold 1.46 million units. And that's just in North America. And we have Metal Gear Solid Guns of the Patriots. It went up a little bit, but not as much as the first game did. And so it's 2.61 million units in North America alone. It doesn't seem like the series does that well in Japan, from what I see here. This data is just an estimate from what I'm getting here. There's kind of an even amount of numbers in Europe here, and I don't see as much as in Japan. But we got, so after Metal Gear Solid 4, there's Peace Walker. Peace Walker was a mobile game, so I didn't really think it's gonna make that much either. But it was about 0.44, so that would equivalent to 444,000, something like that. Let me look at these stats. Damn it. So,
look at the brackets.
0.44 million. So that would be, let me do my math. Probably 440,000. Maybe that's the what it's getting at. It's not a million, so I would say it's probably that. So what I'm getting at is,
what about the HD collection? Do you happen to have any sales numbers on those?
The HD collection, Metal Gear Solid HD collection. I don't know where they're pulling these stats from. From what I'm seeing here, I don't know what the hell. It says platform here. It says PSV. I don't know what that is.
PS Vita.
Oh, that could be it. That's probably 340,000. It seems like. So yeah, it doesn't seem like it makes a good amount of sales in terms of units. So I mean, all I'm getting at is that could be a reason why, but for all I know, there may be just a whole culmination of a lot of other things. We don't know, but that could be it as well. One of the reasons. What do you think? Is my theory right?
I think your theory is very right. I think, but this is also a very strange series because it was an exclusive on the NES. And then it jump ship over with Sony on the PS1, and then PS2 with MGS2 and MGS3. Metal Gear Solid Guns of the Patriots on PlayStation 4. No, I'm sorry, PlayStation 3. And then it went multi-platform with Metal Gear Solid 2, and it didn't do crazy well. So then it became an exclusive again on Metal Gear Solid 3, which then went multi-platform again with the HD collection, and then they had the card games on the PS Vita and the Peace Walker on the Vita, and that didn't sell as hot, so they brought it back, and then like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, that was multi-platform, and there just seems to be this like weird trend of like going multi-platform not working, going to exclusive, going multi-platform being more successful than going back to exclusive. I do think that Kojima is he's a very patient and a very dedicated developer in terms of what he wants. Like, he spends a lot of time on his games. I think he's kind of like Kurosawa, where he infamously set up shots that would take all day just to get. And by the time, these are works of art. And, I think Konami, because as we all know, they don't actually do this for a business. They do it as a hobby that occasionally is successful, despite their best efforts. They're waiting for... They don't want to wait, I should say. They want, profits more and more. They're not understanding why they're not financially successful, so I don't think, I think that they probably will be kicking Kojima to the curb and still holding the Silent Hills and the Metal Gear Solid franchise well in hand, and will milk that until it's dry and get developers in there that don't understand or don't take as much time as as Kojima, and maybe they think like, oh, if we get somebody new in here, well, the worst thing that I think one of the worst things to happen is the success of Modern Warfare. Not because I don't like the game, but because every developer now thinks, every publisher now thinks, wow, we can make that money if we just get the right people behind us.
Yeah. Now I can also see if things don't go that well for Konami in terms of the video game market, I could probably see them maybe just giving up on that market altogether, because for those who don't know, Konami, they do a lot of other things besides just publish video games. They do in Japan
make excuses.
Yeah, they do that too, but and have really really odd press conferences. But besides the point,
God.
But besides the point, they do they publish a lot of other things, mainly in Japan. Trading cards, anime, arcade cabinets. So I've seen a lot of those. Slot machines, and they operate health and fitness clubs in Japan. So they got other kind of forms of revenue that they can fall back on. They actually do have a casino gaming business office here in Las Vegas. So I drive by that every now and then. So there's a lot of things they got going on in the oven. So they could probably just be off doing something else. I don't know. Who knows?
I think they were off doing something else, just because that they really haven't been doing much in terms of their video game franchises.
For sure. I mean, they got
everything else that they've done is bad.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and that was the weirdest thing, because like Metal Gear Solid, like really that's Kojima's baby. But like listening to the announcement of like Silent Hills, of like, oh, it's Hideo Kojima with Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus. This sounds like a really good idea. This can't possibly be Konami. Oh, wait, yes it is, because they just shot themselves in the foot by firing him. Yep, this works.
As we mentioned last week, poor Guillermo del Toro can't get any video game off the ground. Anything he's involved in. That poor man.
He is the kiss of death, unfortunately. Just like, okay, if he's involved, it's like the anti-David S. Goyer, where he's high, Guillermo del Toro's high quality, but like whenever he's associated with a production, for some reason, doesn't seem to work out. So it's sad, because I'd like to see Kojima. I hope a big studio comes in and sweeps up and gets Kojima and really just gives them everything he wants, because he is definitely one of the higher tier guys. And same with Del Toro and Norman Reedus. You've got enough success with Walking Dead. Let the other guys have some turn.
Kojima Productions present Call of Duty. Phantom Warfare.
All your bullets just turn into smoke, and you're doing like the Spirit boss fight, like from Metal Gear Solid 3, where you're just seeing all the soldiers of like all the guys you killed. I'm just like, you stabbed me in the neck and then you teabagged me. What the hell?
Yeah, the whole game takes place in a simulation. All the bullets are made of smoke. And there's this moral ambiguity that pertains to, you can kill this guy and save millions, but why would you kill a man and save millions if it's a simulation? Does it matter if it's a simulation, or does it matter if it's real life? That is the question.
And then your girlfriend calls you every 15 minutes going, Jack, do you remember what day it is today? It's like, listen, I got Pyramid Head knocking down on the door. I will let him chop off my head if you call one more damn time, woman.
God damn it.
I need scissors, 61.
But yeah, that's certainly a thing to think about. It's very unfortunate how things have occurred. As we discussed, Kojima's is very one of the most interesting and more anticipated creators in video games to look forward to whenever he puts out something new. So we'll see how things unfold, and hopefully he continues to make some interesting games. I mean, that's what the interesting and new and maybe new IP, because I think that's what the industry needs right now. It's not, the industry doesn't need Kojima. That's the way I'm trying to go with the Batman quote here.
Kojima is the developer. I'm sorry, no. Kojima at Konami isn't what the populace deserves, but it's what it needs right now.
There we go.
There we go.
Kojima World Order. There you go. On a quick side note here, I'm looking at some news on The Witcher 3, as if a game like The Witcher that's probably spans over 40 hours a game, but we're already getting an announcement of a season pass, including two different looks like two different expansions. Both can easily take about 10 hours long to beat, and the other could be 20 hours. So that's
hot dog.
Well, there you go. I'm already giving them my money. Take it.
I am salivating right now just thinking about it. Just that is, ooh. I mean that is like BioWare level of good DLC. I haven't played the Inquisition DLC, but this sounds pretty darn good. Like what they're planning in advance.
Yeah, I mean, normally I wouldn't really bat an eye with like DLC expansions this really early on in the game, but CD Projekt Red, they've been a developer that doesn't really try to nickel and dime you. They're really for the gamers, made for the gamers by the gamers. They make phenomenal games.
If they tried to sell me an armor horse, I will buy it. They are the only company that has convinced me to do that.
You know what? I wouldn't go as far as disagreeing with you. I would join you on that boat. I would buy 20 packs of horse armor for The Witcher 3 if that meant supporting this developer and keeping this franchise going, or a new franchise to be built upon it. Oh my goodness.
It makes me very, very happy to see that other developers from other countries besides the United States and Japan and Canada and France to an extent, and England, but seeing Ukrainian developers or developers like CD Projekt Red, or I have forgotten what the Metro Last Light developers were. They are 4A Game,
right?
Yeah. The Polish developers at 4A Games.
This may be unrelated, but I've
oh no, I'm sorry, they're Kiev, Ukraine.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it may be unrelated, but I've noticed a lot of really good or interesting games come out of the Polish or Danish developers. I mean, Danish, I would say, for Remedy is, I think it's a Danish developer. So I mean, they, as I always will praise up and down the first two Max Payne games, and definitely Alan Wake. Love that developer. But yeah, and also since we got the Witcher developers, CD Projekt Red being Polish developers, they know what's good. They know how to make some good games. So very good quote there, Steve Rome. You either fire Kojima or you see the company become your villain.
That's very true. Well, either you keep that's true, and you can or keep Kojima on, or see your company become the villain.
It's kind of like, it's almost at this point right now. That's what it has become.
I feel like Kojima is the Batman, where he's very serious and dour, but he's always in very artistically good stories. And then Shigeru Miyamoto is the Superman, because he is just so light and happy, and like is always like, okay, the stories aren't always like dark and serious, but they always got heart and soul to them.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. That's probably like the single best analogy I've seen to describe both of those men.
I'm trying to figure out what Reggie Fils-Aimé is.
He's a Twin Peaks character, that's for sure. Something out of David Lynch.
He would be a character from David Lynch. Oh, like I could see him being like the corrupt mayor of a town, but everyone still loves him. I'd love to see that.
I would too. Speaking of David Lynch, there's some I've read some things online that he's not gonna be directing any of the Twin Peaks revival episodes.
I heard that.
It's just very unfortunate. At this point, There's even rumors from the cast members themselves that this whole Twin Peaks revival maybe even being canceled at this point, which is I'm very sad to possibly hear this.
Yeah, that would be absolutely terrible, since David Lynch deserves more money.
David Lynch is fantastic.
Yes, he is. I want more weird directors like that who make some things that aren't essentially parallel to audience tastes, but who does something very interesting that makes you think and makes you notice things about film and TV in the sense of Twin Peaks.
And makes you think for sure, and they leave an impression on you, even though you didn't really want initially to be impressed upon, or they leave an impression on you, but at the same time you still to this day scratch your head and wonder what the hell did I just see. I'll always scratch my head and wonder what the hell did I see when I watched the end of Lost Highway with Bill Pullman
and Patricia Arquette, and how Bill Pullman's actually the young guy too, and it doesn't make any sense.
I'd have to watch that movie again, not to make any sense of it, but I need to see. I need to be reminded what the hell I saw and still not understand it. But
Mulholland Drive, which one was it? Mulholland Drive or Lost Highway, where the guy's talking about like there's something behind the diner, and then like this really old witch woman just like slides out like on a skateboard, like she just kind of like slides out behind the trash can, then like slides right back and then just disappears.
Oh, I can't remember. I know that there was, as always, as per David Lynch movie. I know there was a weird scene in Mulholland Drive. I know it took place in a diner too. I don't remember if it was that, but that Mulholland Drive was probably the most accessible, along with Twin Peaks, probably the most accessible things put out. Even then, I would say. It was more it's more absorbable to the mainstream, more Twin Peaks, I would say, a little bit more, but regardless, it leaves a lot to think about in terms of like after you see it. I mean, I still think about it and talk about it to this day. Twin Peaks it was quite the show. I didn't watch it in its original run. I was very young at that time, and I probably wouldn't understand it either, but Now that I have
I'm 25, I still can't understand it.
Oh, for sure. But even then, it would have freaked me out too. It still does. There's some weird, very creepy moments in there. That's why you should definitely make a full-on horror movie. I mean, unless you consider some of the things he's made, it could be considered horror in sense of how weird and uncomfortably claustrophobic some things can be. But that's neither here nor there.
You know what? I was thinking that the best director to adapt At the Mountains of Madness isn't Guillermo del Toro. It's David Lynch. Because his films are madness. Because you can't understand, like, you are not mentally capable of understanding what the hell he's talking about. Because you go insane. And you know what? Speaking of horror films, guess which movie is getting... Guess which video game is getting the movie treatment?
What?
It's a horror game, and it's very popular. I'll give you one guess.
Yes. Well, I don't know if I would say Resident Evil again.
No, it's a good answer, but it's not it. I'll tell you, it's Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh,
yeah. The Hollywood Reporters has reported that Warner Brothers is making a feature adaptation with Roy Lee, who produced The Poltergeist and The Ring, and Seth Grahame-Smith, who did Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, and David Katzenberg, who did Stephen King's It. So, yeah, I have no idea. Like, the story, there is no story of the game. Well, there is a story of the game if you read into it and you figure it out, but how can that work as a horror film? Because like the scary part is like, okay, in the game you can die by having the animatronic. So for those who don't know, Five Nights at Freddy's is a iPad game, iOS game, where you essentially are in a Chuck E. Cheese like restaurant, and you're a night guard, and you got to stay from like 12 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock a.m. doing the night shift, and the animatronic the characters come to life at night, or they give an explanation why. But if they come into your security room, they'll kill you. So you have to monitor the monitors as well as the door and the lights and all the different rooms, but you only have limited battery power. So the more scared you are to check the lights, the more your battery runs out, and that makes you more scared. And it's like, oh, that's a pretty ingenious idea for a horror game, but how is that supposed to work as a movie? Because it's not scary knowing that the main character probably isn't going to die until the very end, even if he does die, which probably not, because it's a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's obviously, from what I gathered, and just my overall pessimism and cynicism in terms of video game movies, it's just a quick cash in on kind of a game that's kind of in the know right now for being scary, and also people have more accessibility to it for it being on like a mobile platform and also on the PC. So I never played it personally myself, and so I can't say for sure how they would do it. So that's pretty much what it is. I mean, Warner Brothers grabbing onto a property that they're trying to get some cash on, rather than take a nice abundant catalog of DC characters and make a movie out of it. If you want to make a movie about that, hey, go ahead.
A Booster Gold movie is just waiting to happen, and no, we got to introduce a Batman for the 12th time in a row. Like we don't have time for Wonder Woman or Static Shock. How awesome would a Static Shock movie be?
Oh, that would be very awesome.
And
so
and just very, very strange what they're adapting it. And one of the press statement was really weird too. The creator is Scott Cawthon, and I wish him all the best of luck and success and money. He deserves it. I think it's a very interesting game that revitalized horror for a system that wasn't really known for horror. It's like, how can you get scared on an iOS game? Like, I'll give you a reason. But Vertigo Entertainment's Seth Grahame-Smith, who was the producer on Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, once again, said, we're looking forward to working with Scott to make an insane, terrifying, and weirdly adorable movie. And I just look at that quote and I think, you don't even know what this is, do you? Like, this is not, weirdly adorable is not really what this game is about. It's like, yeah, those animatronic bears are really creepy and disturbing. I don't know where you get weirdly adorable. They're not gremlins.
They're not Leprechaun. Nah. He's just
with
weird.
Jennifer Aniston. Yeah.
And and Francis from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Ooh. Oh, no! Don't give me nightmares about Francis, please. I know that Judd Apatow is remaking, or at least starting Pee-wee's Playhouse again for Netflix, I think. Do you happen to know if Cowboy Curtis is coming back?
I haven't read up upon the news, but if it is, I'm down. Get Morpheus back in there.
Yeah, but he was. I want to see him crazy with Jerry curls and that the Dallas Cowboys outfit again.
Yeah, I had no idea that they were doing that. Netflix is making some moves. They got the Daredevil TV show coming up.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be cool. I mean, that's the thing I like about Netflix shows. You could just kind of binge watch them all in one go, rather than wait like every week to come out, or a whole year like Mad Men. God damn it, AMC, milking that. They're milking that show to the end. That should have ended last year, and then we would have been done by now. and now after like a year, it's back, which is great. I'm happy it's back. So yeah, I can't say too much about it, but I did watch it, enjoyed it. Not the strongest episodes, but it's definitely added an emotional impact. You know, it's developing, it's still developing the character of Don Draper. He's still a womanizer. He's getting divorced again, but I think
It's like sixth wife now.
about there and other like 10 mistresses, but he is developing as a character. Whether it be not necessarily as a person who's good in relationships, but I think he's very different from how he was in the first season in terms of how he you know how he feels about himself. Because in the first season, he never really talked a lot about himself. He didn't. He had a very troubled past, as you learn from watching it through the later seasons. But he's become more open, more comfortable with knowing who he is. He's a womanizer. But and he does good work. That's what he does.
Cigarettes.
And cigarettes. So that's,
Lots and lots of. I wouldn't be surprised if John Hamm just has like cancer by the end of this series. Like, well, I hope you all liked it because that's the last thing I'm going to be able to do.
So yeah, I would say that's what's been going on. It's I don't know if you've been catching up on the show. I don't know if you've been catching up on the show, but
I have not been catching up on the show.
Yeah, so I've been watching it. I've been watching it since I started getting into it on Netflix. I kind of binge watched the whole season and caught up like on the last season or two. Yeah, I mean it's back. It's so far it's been good. Usually the Mad Men premiere episodes aren't the strongest, but this one was pretty good. It had an emotional effect on you. There was a thing that happened in there that even kind of developed more. The character of Don Draper. So very good. If you haven't seen it, I would implore you to check it out if you get the chance. If you're into the kind of period piece kind of show, I think it would be for you. I would say if you're gonna start watching it from season 1, it's kind of slow on the first few episodes, but it does pick up. There's some good, character drama and just character analysis and just the whole how things were back in the day. So it's it's a lot of multi-layered elements going on here. It's a very good show. Very good show. One of the last few shows they got left on AMC. I haven't watched Walking Dead in many seasons. I lost track of it. Not really interested in going back into it. Just not into zombies right now. I thought a zombie show would be cool. It was for a few seasons, and then it just kind of got entangled into some BS I didn't really care for in terms of writing.
Yeah, and it's just with zombie shows, it's just like, oh, you guys don't really have an end goal in mind. Like that's the kind of the big downside of zombie stories, where it's like unless you have like really good writers with like The Last of Us or The Walking Dead Telltale games, your story is gonna run out of gas just because like, listen, we can't just kind of be wandering around from place to place for the rest of the entire story. We got to do something else.
Yeah, that's pretty much. It wasn't the entire reason why I stopped watching it. There was just some. It was just mainly like character inconsistencies that I didn't really enjoy. Kind of took me out of the show and kind of stopped watching since then. I'm very particular in terms of continuity and just overall consistency in terms of like how characters are written. 1 minute they're like this way, and the other minute they act different way, and it doesn't really correlate to their characters. That's what kind of threw me out of it. So I just stopped watching it. So that is it. That's pretty much been my history on The Walking Dead. But Mad Men's good. Check it out.
Yeah,
I like it. I like the 60s, 70s era. People smoking in the office, pinching the young secretaries behind, checking out them gams and stems, all good stuff.
Well, look at these broads.
Yeah.
I've every time I've seen an episode of, I've seen like a couple of episodes of Mad Men off and on. I've seen the first season in its entirety, and then other episodes off and on. And every single one has so far been very high in quality in terms of the writing, cinematography, the acting. They really actually, care about each and every single episode. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't, but you can just tell from a distance that they put a lot of care and effort into this.
Oh yeah, I mean, even the set design and the costumes are really well done. You feel like it's taking place during this time frame, which is like the early '60s. Now they're like, I think they're in the '70s now. But yeah, they really put a lot of attention to detail. It's not a perfect show. I mean, it's not. I don't think it really is. But the thing about a good show is that it keeps your attention and it keeps you still watching. So that justifies for me a good show that I'm still watching.
Oh yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
As in terms of TV watching right now. I have some comics I've been reading.
Oh, very nice. Please do.
I've been reading recently Why the Last Man. This is
Ooh, heard that was a good one, yeah.
This has been something that's been on my list to read for a while. I heard nothing but good things about it, and so far I'm really enjoying it so far. I bought all the trades, so I'm gonna try to read through the whole story when I have the time. I read through like the first trade in a day, so I went by pretty quick on that. It really got my attention. So for those who don't know, Why the Last Man is about pretty much a unknown. I don't know if it was like a widespread disease or anything like that, but it was just an unknown mystery that kind of befell the world. Pretty much, every man and mammal, kind of like with the Y chromosome, ended up just dying all of a sudden, all at the same time, and all there's left is just women on the planet.
Sounds like paradise to me.
You would think so. You would think this is like, oh, the ultimate fantasy. I'm the only man alive. All the chicks gonna be after me. In terms they are, but also it's not a good thing because they're gonna be wanting to come after you, and they want either to sell you off to someone to do experiments on you. So it's a whole multi-layered, the good, pros and cons to this story. So there's only one man left in the universe. You follow this character named York. A lot of some of the characters in here. Well, they mentioned just two of them are their parents. Their dad was a big Shakespeare fan, so they named their kids after like obscure Shakespeare characters. So it's like York, and then Hero is his sister.
They must have gotten beaten up in school. I am so sorry for them.
So yeah, it's pretty much following the character York and his pet kombucha monkey, who also managed to survive as well. So they're both kind of male and mammal there with the Y chromosome in this kind of post-apocalyptic world, which is very interesting. I like where it's going so far, and just how everything's kind of It's crazy to know how a lot of things like the industrial business or electricity, all that thing could go away, because most of them are jobs for like the male-dominated, focused jobs. So just to see how the society handles that, and how everything kind of crumbles and things start to change. Essentially, now that almost every man in on the planet Earth is dead. So it's pretty much, yeah, it's good. The character York has a girlfriend in Australia. He's trying to find out what happened to her. So he's kind of journeying along, also into some politics. You see his mom who's in Congress as well, and then also you kind of see how the ladder starts to crumble in terms of the succession of the president. So like it kind of goes all the way down. It's kind of like Battlestar Galactica.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, where almost everyone who would pretty much succeed the other person to be president, and it all kind of comes down to like someone who's in like agriculture, which I think was this one, and then Battlestar Galactica, I think was she was like the head of like the school education.
The education.
Yeah. So you get that, and also, yeah, just this whole storyline of Yorick trying to find his girlfriend, and also at the same time figuring out what makes him so special to survive this whole thing, this whole ordeal, and finding any kind of cure or any way to kind of repopulate the world at this point. So it's kind of everything's kind of been desolate now that all the manly men are laid to waste, except for one man.
Yeah. I bet this is so powerful that even Chuck Norris can't escape from the plague.
Oh, Chuck Norris, if he was alive, he'd be the only man. He'd be all the man in the world.
Chuck Norris is so manly that even like the Y chromosome has a beard of strength in itself, in the DNA.
So yeah, good stuff. Enjoying it. This is actually a Vertigo title. So I know we talked about.
Nice.
I know we talked about last week. We weren't sure Vertigo is still going on, but Vertigo is still going on. So they still got comics being published. Yeah, Vertigo's always been there to go their go-to kind of DC subsidiary to put out some content that's pretty good. That's not superhero or related.
A little bit riskier.
Yeah, a little bit riskier, and just leaning towards more of the different and kind of independent kind of subsidiary. So yeah, they got some good titles out there. Definitely check it out if you guys haven't read it yet.
I've heard really good stuff.
So far, so good. Yes, it's very good stuff. You know, same writer of Saga, and he did some writing on Lost. So he's got Brian K. Vaughan's got a good repertoire in terms of his writing in comics and some TV shows. So I know they were making the movie, but I don't know how that's going.
Apparently, originally it was supposed to have Shia LaBeouf as the lead, but it's been, I think it has been talked about and kicked around ever since the first Transformers film, actually. So it's probably in a coma right now.
Yeah, I don't, especially if with Shia LaBeouf, he's kind of dropped in stock for a while now. He's
not famous anymore, as his paper bag has told us on his head.
Yeah, he's a weird dude. I don't know what happened. It may be the child actor rebellious or odd nature of him coming out now, this late in his promising career.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he had a promising career.
Don't know what he has now.
I don't know what he has. He's got a paper bag. I know that.
He's also in Fury.
In Fury. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and he was crazy in Fury. I hope maybe that's actually who he is.
Now, bringing this around is the Fury, the movie with Tom Hardy. It's just was that the movie about the? Was it? No, that was the war movie. I'm thinking about the other movie. He was in
The Drop.
No, that he was in. Shia LaBeouf was in this other movie with Tom Hardy. It was about about alcohol being illegal at a certain point. Something like that.
Yeah.
It was that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about. I know there's a word for it. I don't remember what it was, but I'm thinking about. There was a Yu-Gi-Oh card. There's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Prohibition. The prohibition of alcohol. There you go.
Oh.
There you go. See how that tied that around. If I can't remember a word, I'll relate it to something that I know. So that was Yu-Gi-Oh
all of life's problems can be related to Yu-Gi-Oh.
You gotta keep your heart of the cards right there.
Time roulettes in different directions.
When we all go, I think if we all pass, we'll be going into the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, I think that was a Mumford & Sons song, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Do Shadow Realm. Do.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that segue, but there we got an official announcement for the Batman Superman trailer, going to be being debuting before Mad Max. So that's something to look forward to. I hope we get some action in this trailer, not just a teaser trailer. We better not get Batman and Superman looking at each other again. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I hope. No. What's going to happen is that they're going to pull like the biggest troll move ever, and it's going to be Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman looking at each other just like, Superman, like they're doing the good, the bad, and the ugly stares, where they're just like looking at each other. Like cuts to Batman, looks from Wonder Woman to Superman. Superman cuts from Batman to Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman just like looking back at Superman, goes back, and that goes on for the entire 2 minutes.
Done.
No. Oh no! Even better, no sound effects, no music. No, even title cards or credits. Just like them looking at each other, just like standing still, looking, just like cutting between shots, and then it ends, and that's it.
I can see that, and I can see that happening. That's like the CH Gorog cut of the trailer, just to troll everybody. And you see, since there's no sound effects, you see out in the distance, you see the haystack, rolling by across from Batman, like a good old Western movie. You see all the mom and pop shops closing shop for now because all shit's about to go down. You see a guy calling Allstate and his business insurance to make sure it's covered because Superman's gonna wreck the hell out of his place. So all that good stuff.
It's or like the Nationwide guy, but it's just like he suddenly appears like, no, you sing the jingle and send me back. I am not going to stand around here.
That'd be a good commercial.
But I'm still worried just because they released the photo of Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, but they don't even have like a full body thing to do the exact same thing as the Jason Momoa Aquaman picture, where it's black and white, desaturated, and just the profile of their head. It's not like the full suit, like, oh wow, that looks kind of cool, like they did for the first Thor movie with the costumes. It's just like, oh, it's his head. This is exactly what he looks like shaven. Thank you for giving us no context to anything else.
Yeah, something that Photoshop couldn't have figured out for us.
To be fair, it still wasn't as they would have to go out of their way to be as bad as that X-Men First Class teaser posters. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what this is, look it up online. Hi, Mr. Conviction. He has joined the chat. I would like to say to he's just saying hey. I gotta say to everyone, go to Google image search or whatever search engine you're choosing, Dogpile, Ask.com, or what have you, and look up the X-Men First Class teaser posters, where it's just like a silhouette of Ian McKellen, Magneto, and Charles Xavier, Professor X. I'm sorry, of Patrick Stewart, Professor X, and they're just like dark profiles of their bodies, and then they have the heads of like Michael Fassbender and Patrick. Who played
James McAvoy?
James McAvoy, yeah. Where they just have like their heads are like awkwardly like glued, like transparent on their crotch, where it's like really really awkward. It's like, okay, I know you guys might have been pressed for time, but damn it, this is lazy.
I'm looking at it right now. I just posted the link in the chat room. It looks so sloppily done. I could have done this.
Oh, are you? No. You couldn't have done this because you would have at least made an effort. This is just like they took a promo of like the first X-Men movie, made it black and white, and then just like, okay, I got a picture of James McAvoy from like looking at a camera. I will cut out his head and glue it onto this, scan this into the computer, and then this will be our poster.
Well, yeah, this is probably the worst poster I've ever seen of a movie.
It might. Okay, the next one is what to expect when you're expecting, and the poster, like all the, I think it's one of the first ones where it's like all the women are trying to like look at each other, but it doesn't look like any of them are in the same scene. So they're just like looking at the wrong direction, like none of the eye lines match up. It literally looks like they had them all stand in front of a green screen, like on the top for, all the pregnant women, and then for the guys it actually looks like they're all in a scene together, but not for the women. It's so weird in comparison.
Damn. I would say this would have been like a bad fan-made poster, but I've seen better fan-made posters than this. I made a good one. I made one of Bruce Willis as Agent 47 years ago, and this looks 10 times better than this.
Dude, I'm telling you, because you have talent. The people who had posters, a lot of posters now, they need to convey. This is an American trend with movies, is that they need to convey as much information as possible in the shortest amount of time, so they don't have to worry about artistry. So what they do is just like slap as many people as they can on there, try to give a rough idea of what the movie's about, and then that's it. They don't care about like how it will read, but that's why they have like the young Professor X and stapled on old Professor X's crotch, like really awkwardly, or even just like all the women on What to Expect When You're Expecting looking like none of them had any scenes together, and they just like edited several different movies together.
I don't know where this is from. I know I posted this on somewhere. I think on through Spill. I don't remember posting it on DeviantArt, but I put the link in the chat room. That's the Photoshop I did of Bruce Willis. The actual photo is not that small, but I don't know where I just Googled it, and then I don't know where that came up from, but it was a very small little thumbnail. But look at that. That's nice.
You know what? That looks infinitely better than both of those posters, because you've got like shadows going. It actually looks dynamic. You've got color. You've got it actually looks proportionally correct, and just by guessing this actually looks pretty damn good. That wasn't the case for X-Men First Class. It's like, I don't know anything about proportions. Let me just like slap this giant head on this promotional image.
Yeah, not very good. No good.
You know what? They might as well just like taken your poster and just like glued it into the X-Men First Class poster. It's like, that looks good. It's like, Bruce Willis is not in this movie, nor is Agent 47. Nah, it doesn't matter.
That'd be my wish.
James McAvoy. The photo doesn't even look like he's in character. It looks like some guy just like took a picture of him while he was having lunch. It's like, dude, really? Come on. Just like, let me eat for 5 minutes and then you can go back to hounding me.
Took his IMDb picture.
That's his reaction because he just realized this poster was going to get made. He's like, really, dude? Come on.
Yeah. I'm gonna hold on to this teaser poster just to illustrate how not as bad as other maybe posters may be out there. I'll keep this to my grave.
You know what you should do? Just walk into a production studio. No, walk into Fox with the two images of like your photoshopped Hitman 2 teaser trailer with Bruce Willis, and then walk in the other hand with the X-Men First Class teaser poster. Put both of them down. It's like, that one was somebody you paid to do. This was mine. You hire me now. And then that's how you get a job.
I'm going to try that. I'm going to go straight to 20th Century Fox to speak to whoever I need to speak to. Maybe, whoever's there. I don't know who's in charge right now. I was about to say Bobby Kotick, but that's a whole different ballpark.
Oh, yeah. But he's got enough money. He could probably buy Fox at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't see it. I wouldn't see it out of there.
Mm-hmm. David Madden is the Fox Television Group Chairman CEO. So
there you go. I want to get in touch with him, see what can be done, make some moves, spread the word.
All you need to do is just like show up there with the barest minimum of work, and you will have done a better job than most people who have worked for the production company there. I mean, have you seen The Day the Earth Stood Still? That was just a bad movie.
That's pretty cool, Mr. Conviction. It looks like someone made a mod for Skyrim as his application for Bethesda. I mean, that's
cool.
That's the way to do it,
I think I saw something on Reddit where somebody had actually made a huge mod, and then like one of the posters was actually from. No, I think Mr. Conviction. I think you're right. It was from Bethesda, and he said, "Wow, this is great. Drop us a line." And then the guy commented back, "Okay, I just need to talk with my family about this, and I'll think about it." And that was great.
He's teasing them,
keeping it real. That's nice to see.
Oh yeah, I mean, we kind of been all over the place as we always are in this lovely podcast. What have you been reading? Anything? Any comics? I know you've been we've been playing a few games. You said you wanted to maybe talk about Gears of War Judgment, which is like what's a prequel, right? That came out a few years back for the original Gears of War. I had to I had to ponder on that thought there for a second, make sure I had it right.
No worries.
But yes, what did you want to speak about first?
I'm not reading any comics at the moment. I will try to rectify that. I am reading Wool, which is a really interesting post-apocalyptic sci-fi book, but I haven't read too much into it, but interesting read so far. Gears of War Judgment is, for those of you who don't know the Gears of War series, it's a third-person action-adventure game where it is essentially exalting in the graces of violence and gore and warfare. Because it's essentially just this big cartoon of just like war and sacrifice and just like these really big personalities and larger than life characters. And this one essentially takes place as a prequel where these 4 soldiers are on trial for essentially abandoning their post and doing a mission that you find out as each one gives their testimony. Kind of like Rashomon in a way. But except all the stories kind of are the same and line up with each other. And you see some favorites return, such as Baird and Cole, who are in the squad. Baird's the lieutenant, and he's leading the squad, and they're all under the watchful eye of this commanding officer who's a real big jerk. And so you find out what's going on, and the story's not always the biggest one, but there are some pretty good character beats there. That I really liked a lot, including a former soldier who was on the other side of a conflict against the COG, who are the kind of main protagonists of the military protagonists of the series. So it's interesting to see kind of that dynamic, and then one of them is a female special ops character, and her story is actually probably the most interesting one out of all of them. And so anyway, it's it's a prequel to Gears of War. It's done by People Can Fly, who did Bulletstorm, which was a really audacious, really weird, and very exuberant and crazy game. This one's a lot more reined in, but it feels like the freshest experience of Gears of War I've had in a very long time. Where the first one felt very interesting, very new, and it was kind of like, okay, a more run and gun Resident Evil 4 game. And then the second one came out as a refinement, not really a huge advancement, but with a pretty good emotional story. The third one kind of left me cold on the series. I wasn't as compelled to finish it, and I didn't really care. And this one was essentially free for the Xbox Gold subscribers. And essentially what they did is People Can Fly took the Gears of War mechanics and really changed them around. Whereas the grenade buttons, the switching weapons, everything's a lot faster, a lot more smoother, and a lot more of the weapons have been balanced, so it's not just like a huge shotgun war as the Gears of War Online stuff has been going on. But this time it's a bit different of a flavor to it, where you have classes, like in Team Fortress 2, one's a healer, one's kind of suppressing fire if you go online, and for the multiplayer, and it just a lot more creative enemies this time around, and not the Lambent, thank God, just because okay, so little quick side story. I love Halo and the Flood. I like the Flood in the Halo games, but I don't want them all the time, because essentially what they do is just charge at you with reckless abandon. And I don't want to see that all the time in the game. Like the Flood is a palate cleanser. And in Gears of War 3, the Lambent are the Flood, except they are pretty much the majority of the enemies, and they're not that fun of enemies, which they've changed this time around, where it's like the Lambent are not really in this, and it's mostly just the Locust who are the big baddies, and a lot more interesting kind of variations of the Locust, where they actually change up the play style of like, okay, you can't just empty a clip into a certain type of enemy where if you shoot them too many times, they turn to huge berserking enemies, so you have to either chainsaw them or headshot them in one hit and to make sure that they don't transform, or various other types of characters. And so it's a much better, I think, a much more well-balanced Gears of War game than the third or even the second one. And I would, it's free. It was free for me since I still have Xbox Gold kicking. So I would recommend checking it out if you're a Gears of War fan and the franchise really wasn't doing anything for you. Buy it at a discount. But it was a surprising buy. So very good time.
Very good. As I mentioned, I haven't personally had much experience with the series, but I've heard from some outlets that it's very well balanced compared to the previous games in terms of these single player and multiplayer, which is always a fine improvement, especially a series that they put out a prequel to make further advancements into the gameplay. So very nice, very nice. It was very interesting to hear.
Apparently, the next Gears of War game might be a reboot of the series, since that the story is apparently since Gears of War 3 ended a lot of the plot threads and stuff. Like, I could see why they would want to make a reboot of the series, but I don't know. I kind of like the fact that it was just so archetypally obsessed with like violence, destruction, the nature of war, and just death. Like, not even in a very deep way, just like in a very superficial way. Just like, dude, we're just here to kick ass and kill things. Get out of our way. And by the way, Mr. Conviction, he said he liked Bulletstorm, very chaotic. I will defer to your opinion. I have only seen the video reviews.
Yeah, it was very. I played it very, very long ago. I rented it. The gameplay was pretty much as he described, very, very chaotic. It's just a very out there kind of shooter. It was different. I really didn't care for the story, and neither really was the intent of that game. But it was a fun, chaotic shooter. I don't know if I'd be up for another sequel, but it was okay for what it was. I think it was a good rental, for sure. One of the that's pretty much it. I mean, it's I don't know if they're with the rumors tossing around of a reboot. Maybe I could see that happening, since kind of Cliffy B's kind of doing his own thing now, since he was the director for those games. I think he's working on like a free to play shooter right now.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, one of the other things, I haven't been playing a whole lot other than just Bloodborne, with making some progress and then not making progress, and then not making progress. And not
you must sleep
progress.
very, very well, crying yourself to sleep just like me with Dark Souls. Just like you realize that you're no good at all.
Yeah, it's nuts. I don't know if I would say. It depends. Like there are elements between like Dark Souls and Bloodborne. Both have their like pros and cons in terms of what you would prefer. It's more a matter of preference. I don't know if I would say one is harder than the other. It's just like a matter of preference and amount of things you're willing to deal with. Especially now after like Dark Souls 2, when they incorporated like fast travel like right away, rather than like the first Dark Souls, like later on you get the ability to fast travel between locations, rather than, because the first you have to remember where to go in that first one. Everywhere you gotta remember where to go, to a point where you do get the ability to fast travel, but even then I can't remember names of places. A lot of stuff was so desolate and just. I know what it looks like. I could tell you what it looks like because I've been there 100 times before because I kept dying and trying to find my way around. I could tell you what it looks like, but I can't, for the life of me, tell you what the hell the name was of any of these places. And that's the thing. It's like very Metroidvania-esque. You know, you end up going to the same places, but there are other locales near where you start off that are locked out that you don't really go back to that spot and unlock till like later on in the game when you maybe beat a boss or get a key that they have when you beat them. So it's a lot of that going back and forth, using what is given to you. It doesn't seem as expansive, but there's a lot of things there that they reuse, reusable kind of assets in terms of like the level design, but it's still good regardless. They do it in a good way. Like they do backtracking in a good way. There's a good and bad ways to do it. But yeah, I've beaten 3 bosses so far. The last boss I beat was it took me a while to beat. I had to figure out. It's just a matter of patience. You just really got to figure out their patterns and their phases they go through. Because this last one, it was called the Blood-Starved Beast, is very intimidating boss. You know, you once you get it to half health, it'll go through a different phase where it'll start attacking you faster and ferociously. And it also has like a poison as well. If you get hit by him enough times in a row, you get poisoned, and you have to quickly have a antidote to counteract the poison, or else you just lose health over time really quick. So there's a lot of balancing of getting enough space in between getting attacked and also taking the potion to cure yourself of poison. So there's a lot of that. Yeah, it's just a matter of figuring out what he's gonna do, and also there's ways to exploit some bosses. You can sometimes you can just dodge, like when they're about to hit you, you just roll. You kind of roll in front of them and they'll miss you, and just strategies like that you figure out to once you do it enough times, so many times that you figure it out. That's pretty much the last thing I've done so far, and then much like the previous Souls games and this, it's just kind of figuring out where the hell to go. You kind of just like explore until you find something new. And I got to a point where I found some items, and then once I thought I was going to get farther, and I went to try to open this door and said, "It locked. You need a key." I was like, what the fuck? Where am I supposed to go to get this key? I've pretty much been everywhere. I don't know where else to go. And then later on, you go to this area, and you get killed by this new enemy you never seen before, and then you get transported into a cutscene and takes you to a whole new area. So unexpected things like that occur. So you never know where things will fall. So right now, I'm kind of like at this point.
I feel that. Yeah.
I'm at that point too, where there's a new area that I'm trying to explore, and I get killed because there's so many enemies around that I can't really have time to explore, and I want to kill them because there's too much of them. So I just run around like an idiot, trying to like a chicken with head cut off, trying to figure out where to go, and die in the process. So like, all right, I got farther this time. At least I know kind of where this area looks like. So I'll go back again, try to avoid getting killed, and kind of go from there. These like giant pigs chasing you, giant pigs. They blow air at you. It's incredibly amazing, and yet it's frightening. Giant pigs, man.
It sounds like Dark Souls. It sounds haunting, beautiful, painful, and just soul destroying. And what I want to ask you is the navigation any better? Do they give you a map? Or just like with even Castlevania Symphony of the Night has a map to show you where you've been.
No, you don't get any maps. You don't really get any map. This is going from Dark Souls 2, and Bloodborne. There's really no map in the game. But I will say that beginning with Dark Souls 2, it is simpler in a way, to know where you've been. You'll know enough because you end up seeing a lot of similar places and dying at the similar places, so you kind of have an idea where to go, where not to go, and where things that may not be accessible at that time until later on, maybe when you get a new item and then you're curious to try it, and 50-50 it'll work or it'll be the right item. But yeah, there's no map at all in those games, so you're kind of just exploring and kind of drawing up kind of all your experiences and senses and common video game knowledge to a point. They kind of know where to go. So I haven't looked at any guides at all. I've been kind of keeping my eyes away from that. Only if I really, really need to use it, so I know where to go. That's the only time I'll use it. But I've been very blind. This is a very blind playthrough. I've gotten 3 bosses down so far and a few new locations. So I'm doing good so far. It's not one of those games you can really rush, because if you're gonna rush it, you have to have an idea where to go. But not until you beat it will you have an idea where to go and what to do. A lot of elements in place, but I like it either way. It's unexpected, frightening, daunting adventure that you love it and you hate it. It goes back and forth.
It is existential, and it is a look at the ups and downs of life, and it is hatred and beauty incarnate.
Yeah, it's certainly something. I like it. Definitely worth the full price I paid for it. There's a lot there. A lot of which I haven't yet to explore, but there's a lot there. I'll get to it. There's a lot there. I know there's a lot there.
Yeah.
I try to get there's co-op in there as well. You can get people, much unlike like Dark Souls 2, because it was like very random. You can't really get together a party to join you, because it's going to be random. It's all very randomized. You don't know who you're going to be paired up with. Bloodborne is a little bit more simplified in a way. You can either go the route of having like co-op matchmaking done for you, or it could be anybody, or you can set up through the main menu. You can go through like the network menu options. You could put together whether it be local or worldwide. I don't know what local or worldwide means. Maybe it's just like all over the world, and local maybe is within your country. I don't know. You can
maybe it's worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. You can set up a password you can put together, and you're more than likely going to be paired up with whoever is matching the same network information as you. So if you put in like Bloody Thumbs as the password, and you get somebody else that has the same thing, you're more than likely going to be paired up with that person in co-op. If nobody else has that password in their network settings, you're more than likely going to be paired up. I tried to do this with Steve. I don't know if it's like that's the thing, because they don't tell you. You don't get any information on how this works unless you look it up.
It's the Dark Souls, baby.
In game,
it's from software.
In game, you're not going to find out how the hell you can do this, but you gotta it's a lot of trial and error, and then looking up online. There's a lot of things that could we could never could have get it to work. So it's a matter of there's usually a level cap as well. If someone is farther off in the game than you, and they're a higher level than you, you can only go you can only go between like a 10 level difference. So if they're more than 10 levels above you, then you're not going to be able to match make with them. So that's the thing. There's a lot of things in place that will prevent you from doing so, just so that they're an equal, kind of almost equal level playing field, so that someone is that overpowered and it helps you beat the boss easily like that. So that's why that's in place. But we never could get it to work. So maybe that's why it didn't work. Maybe Steve was farther off in the game. I know he is. I don't know how he does it. He's a madman, but he's farther ahead in the game than me.
Oh,
and I only play like 2 hour increments, because I can only take so much.
It is if it's anything like Dark Souls that I'm playing right now, and from what I've seen, the screens and the videos and actually some Twitch TV stuff of Bloodborne, it certainly feels like one of those games where it's like you're gonna enjoy it, but you're gonna be tired after about an hour. So even the people who are good at it are probably gonna have to take a break.
Yeah, like I said, I still enjoy it. It's a different experience that you don't get with other games, so that's why I like it, and it's just challenging enough. Not
Yeah.
not arbitrarily or artificially difficult. It's just the only difficult thing you're gonna overcome is just your patience. You gotta be very patient.
Yes.
That's the thing. So yeah, I'll see. I'll see how farther I get between now and next time we record. Hopefully, I get a little bit farther on and see kind of where I go. I wanna. My plan is to beat it before MKX, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm just the kind
Yeah.
of guy that I would like to beat a game, not as quickly as possible, but enough time.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, enough time to enjoy it, and also to move on to something else. Because I know Dark Souls too. It took me about at least over 30 hours to beat. So, and that's just counting other
Well,
stuff I was doing. I maybe if I knew what I was going, where I was doing, maybe I would have been it in a shorter amount of time. But even then, that's kind of substantial. I did a lot of exploring, a lot of farming, leveling up. So it's kind of like a Bloodborne is a little bit like an MMO in a sense. You can easily do some farming in that game.
killing some boars for three credit scores, three
So
XP.
you get blood vials, which are health items. So you can easily get them in certain locations. You don't really have to spend money for them unless you don't want to do that. You can easily spend money real quick to get them, but you're probably better off saving them for leveling up your skills, getting like higher vitality or higher stamina, things like that. So you end up losing and gaining a lot of them, as you may know already with Dark Souls. You have a good amount of souls, and you lose them. You fall down an edge. You can't get them. You're screwed.
Oh,
You gotta move on.
you do not know how many times I rage quit that game out of frustration just because of just be like, okay, especially with the bell tower gargoyles. I'm like, okay, I got this guy. I got stick and move, and then I roll over the edge of the cliff. I'm like, well, there goes 3,000 souls, and screw this game.
Yeah, that's happened a lot. A lot of the a lot of the sidestepping and rolling out of the way is been a detriment. Sometimes I wish I'd just taken the hit. I probably would have still been alive and not have fallen down this edge. Oof.
Oh, there's the give and take, and a lot of these things are from software. It doesn't really tell you. It's like, oh, by the way, there are no invisible walls to keep you inside of a boss fight. Like, oh, okay, thank you. And what the hell does the old witch's ring do? I have no idea.
Well, I can't even imagine. There's a lot of items in there. I don't even know what they do. I look at the description, but they don't even tell you. They don't tell you anything. It's just like the lore, but it's like this is not gonna do anything for me. What does this do? I don't want to know about the lore. What does it do?
It's like the great seven gods descended upon the final phylactery of the evil to create this. Like, so does it hurt me? Does it help? Does it destroy itself after I go back to a fire? Because that would be really nice to know.
Yeah. I mean, you'll get that for sure. I know for the Dark Souls, you get really like in depth, very short descriptions of the item, and then they end up just not doing anything. Like this ring was forged from the seven seas, and it just pretty much just an accessory. Doesn't do anything really.
It's like, so this does nothing. Well, actually, if you give it to your girlfriend, it makes a very, very nice engagement present. Like, thank you. I don't need that against the gaping dragon.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. That's why we keep coming back to it, because we want to beat it.
And because we're like abused wives, thinking that the husbands really do love us after this. Like, no, he didn't mean it. Just keep abused spouses. Just keep on going back.
Yeah, that's gonna be a theme of those games. So,
if From Software re-releases the entire trilogy of Dark Souls 2, and Bloodborne, it's going to be just the Cry Yourself to Sleep trilogy.
Yes, perfect.
Don't
name.
worry, you'll never be good enough for this game.
I mean, it's
your anguish sustains me trilogy.
It is very. It takes a lot out of you. I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I've played it a few times before, and and when I'm just not getting a rhythm going, I just keep dying, and that's all I've been doing for the last like hour and a half. I keep going until the point where I just I spent too much time with it, and then I just kind of get a little depressed because I go to beat it. That's the thing. It takes a lot.
Did you go to a support club afterwards?
Yeah, it makes you very happy when you beat a boss, or it just depresses the hell out of you because you can. That's all you've been doing, just dying and dying for the last hour and a half.
You know how powerful that game series is? I got tired of the praise the sun meme, and even before I started playing, it's like, whatever, praise the sun. Yeah, it's like the cake is a lie. That's like the whole meme that gets so boring and old that like, oh, I don't even want to hear about it. And then when I beat my first boss, I'm like, praise the sun.
Exactly. That's what happened to me. Mm-hmm. Once I beat a boss, I was like, praise the sun, or I'll start doing like motions and gestures that you can do in the game. You know how you can kneel down and put your hands up. It's like that's what I do every time when I beat a boss. Like, yes, on my knee with my hands out. Yes,
yes. Or like beckon people. Like, come on, yeah. Well, who else is next?
Shit. That's
we'll see.
That's Bloodborne and Dark Souls for you.
Yes, it is.
So, how about we get to questions?
Yes, please do.
So we have 6 minutes left in this recording. Let me, just so we have time, we don't have to like rush the answers. I'll just quickly end the broadcast for those folks listening live. It's gonna be, you're not gonna notice this when you listen to it live on the archive. But it's going to be a slight disruption on the live feed. But now we're back. See how quick that was? It's a nice little transition here. I don't know if you got to listen to the podcast I did last week. I want to let some folks know that for those who don't listen live, I do add a little bit extra for those who didn't listen live for the archive downloads. I added a cool little segues segments in between like the breaks and the end of the show. I'll send you the audio of what I did for the break we had last time on the last episode. I think you'll kind of get a kick out of it.
Oh, awesome.
So that's something a little extra for those who didn't get the chance to listen live, which is fine. We still always employ you guys to listen to it on the download as well if you haven't listened to it already. So just wanted to put that out there. Let me pull up the questions here. I've been trying something slightly different of getting people aware of what we're doing now.
You got it.
On the podcast through Instagram. So we got a question through Instagram from Mr. Conviction.
Nice.
Which is in the chat. So if you guys have any questions as well while we're on here, feel free to ask them. But I'll answer Mr. Conviction's question through Instagram. His question was, there's two questions. He likes to do two questions here. Do you think Channing Tatum will make a good Gambit in the upcoming movie? I think the X-Men movie or Gambit movie, whatever. I can't say I'm too really familiar with Gambit to really give you an opinion on. Honestly, I don't know too much about Gambit. I've seen the X-Men animated series. I remember Gambit. I remember him and his cool playing cards, but that's really all about it.
Yeah.
I'll give Channing Tatum the benefit of the doubt. He's been in some, it's been some alright movies. I don't know.
Yeah, he's not as big of a career run as Matthew McConaughey from Pretty Boy to really respected actor, but he's had a good string of movies. The Jump Street films. He's had Side Effects. Then he did Magic Mike, and he's actually been doing better and better, and actually making himself into a better actor who also just happens to be kind of the leading hot guy of the young generation.
That's true. He's definitely come a long way since G.I. Joe. So yeah.
That's cinematic perfection. How do you not love the Wayans brother just having a good old time in the Halo suits? Damon Wayans.
and a cameo. I don't know for anyone, and an unexpected, maybe unwanted cameo by Brendan Fraser.
That was so good. You're just like, I don't even know what he's doing here. And the film is like candy. It's junk. You know it's bad for you, but it is so good when you're enjoying it.
So yeah, to answer the question, I'll give it an open mind. So that'll be my answer.
I think this is almost one of the instances where I would be actually very interested if he slimmed down for the role. That if he didn't, Gambit's kind of a little bit more of a lithe, slimmer character who, is the Southern gentleman out of Louisiana. So he's got that drawl, and he can't get any worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine, Gambit. So I'm really anticipating anything at this point from Taylor Kitsch. I'm sorry that you were in that film. Yeah, the Kitsch of Death.
Speaking of Kiss of Death, Taylor Kitsch.
What's up? He's oh my gosh, like I feel so bad for him just because he was in Carter, not John Carter of Mars. He was in Battleship, X-Men Origins Wolverine. He cannot catch a break.
Right. So moving on to Mr. Convictions.
So I think you can do good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. So
I hope he does good. Yeah.
I mean, that's all I can hope for. I mean, I'm not really into the frame of mind to see anyone fail or do bad in terms of these things.
Yeah.
I mean, we want these movies to be good, so I wouldn't go out and see it if it wasn't anyway. So, second question was, do you think who do you think would make a better Jon Stewart Green Lantern, Michael J. White or Idris Elba? Very good choices. I mean, as you've gotten in the past, as Michael J. White being a kind of, I mean, not the perfect example, but he did play like a very military character with Spawn. Well, he was like a kind of a black ops guy, and Idris Elba has been, it's been kind of a, not as well known, but he's getting up there in terms of his, for those who like movies or shows. I thought
that would always be the different. But that would be reversed. That Idris Elba has actually got a little bit more exposure because of his role in Prometheus and in the Thor films.
Oh yeah, he has. I would say, personally, I would like to see Idris Elba be Jon Stewart as a Green Lantern. He would be a good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just thinking that I would probably want to see Michael J. White just because he's younger. I think he's a little bit more hungrier for a good action role. I think Idris Elba has, expressed his disinterest in action films. So, and also I think Michael J. White can pull off action and humor very, very well, and a dry sensibility too, like in Black Dynamite, where he's essentially just like so uber serious all the time, and then when when something funny happens with him involved, it's even funnier just because he still maintains the illusion of over seriousness. So I would probably say Michael J. White, even though I think Idris Elba would make a very good Green Lantern.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Who's one of the character? I'm trying to remember the actor from Fast and the Furious 7 or Fast 6, where he was Diggs. What's his name? Not Tyler Diggs. No. Don't worry. It's gonna come to me. Furious 7. Diggs. Okay. No, never mind. I can't think about it. Anyway, I
was looking at Black Dynamite quotes randomly.
Oh yeah, some of them are one of my. But Black Dynamite, I sell drugs to the community is one of my favorites of all time. I'm sorry, Tyrese Gibson. I have no idea where I was getting digs from. Tyrese Gibson. He's been really partitioning for the Green Lantern role. I don't think it's going to go to him.
Much like someone else. I can't think of his name.
Robin Williams tried to get a role on the last Batman film. Strangely enough, yeah, he tweeted to Christopher Nolan saying, "Hey, let's make something work." And I don't know if he was like maybe half joking, half serious, but I think he expressed some interest with Nolan to get a part.
And my little nephew Bucky, he OD'd.
That's. What did I tell you about interrupting my kung fu?
I like the part where he throw like a batarang? No, not
a sharp boomerang.
A boomerang, and then like 2 minutes later, it just came back and hit the other guy. He's like, "See, I throw shit.
I threw that shit before I walked in the room."
Crack me up. No, I didn't know that Robin Williams expressed maybe some interest or any feint of hints, but I would think he would make a great Hugo Strange. That's for sure. He would have made a good Hugo Strange. I actually seen like I've actually seen like photoshopped pictures of him as Hugo Strange. So it would have been interesting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of interesting fan choices and casting choices that never really reached the ears of Hollywood studio execs.
Which is very unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at pictures now
of Black Dynamite kicking butt.
That and Robin Williams is Hugo Strange.
Mm-hmm.
This is a weird, disturbing one I'm seeing here. It's like it kind of borders on good, and it also borders on kind of bad. Oh, this one I see here is really bad. It's making me crack up.
I think it was the same guy who did the X-Men First Class teasers.
Yeah, if you look at this one, I'm gonna link you to that. I'm gonna link you to that real quick once this thing loads up. I think it's on that level right now.
You got it.
I'm trying to find it. Yeah, I would go. Actually, I know there's been some like talks and some like controversy with whole Idris Elba as a possible like James Bond. It would be cool to see.
Yeah.
Because we know there's been like theories out there, and the theory that we've talked about before in the past makes the most sense. Like James Bond isn't just the one person. It's a persona. It's like an alias. You know, there's like different James. That's why all the James Bonds are different throughout the whole era. So it's just it's a code name. So that'll work out. That'll work out especially well with that theory in place.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Skyfall was kind of hinting towards the film, and then at the end where they go to the gravesite, it's like, okay, you guys aren't going with that one. Okay, whatever. There's always next time, and with Idris Elba as James Bond, that would be I think he might. He's not that old, but he might not do a lot of the action scenes because he's an older gentleman. But I would love to see him. I think he's got the charisma, and he can pull it off.
Very true. Yeah, I don't know why this took this long to copy this link. Like sometimes on Google Images, whenever you want to click on the image itself just to see it and kind of go away from like the other results, it just for some reason it takes forever to load. But I was able to pull up that Photoshop I was telling you about, the bad Hugo Strange Photoshop with Robin Williams' face.
Oh please! Oh, I cannot wait to see it.
Drum roll.
I was really disheartened about the Duke Wisconsin game last night.
I have not kept up with the
Final Four and
Final Four.
Yeah, the championship. It was just like it was actually a really close game, but it was mostly just like I wanted to see Wisconsin win just because. Come on, it's Duke. They've got enough acclaim already. These guys haven't made it to the. I don't think they made it to the Sweet 16 since 1941. So I just wanted to see Wisconsin be have the Cinderella story and just really win and have that warm fuzzy feelings in the pit of your stomach.
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Is that photo taking a while to load, too?
Oh, no worries. Hey, while we're waiting for the photo to load, do we have any other questions?
Yes. Let me pull them up here.
Alrighty.
Yeah, if it doesn't come up for you, I think just try to Google Hugo Strange, Robin Williams, and you should see it in like image results. It should be like a red themed poster, so it should stand out to you. But
oh my God! It just looks like the Darth Vader helmet piece. That doesn't look like a beard. Oh, and no, oh my God! His nose isn't bending the right direction.
At the same time,
it looks broken.
At the same time, it's kind of like an optical illusion. Like if you look at it at a certain angle, it looks okay, and then when you look at it, like if you move your head to the right, it looks completely out of proportion. But if you move it to the left, it'll actually look kind of good.
It's like the paintings that with the eyes that follow you. The nose follows you wherever you go. Oh my gosh! Wow.
That one's up there. But yeah, I can't. Yeah, I mean, at least it's fan made. That I understand. But that one was like a studio produced poster. So I'll give that credit. That fan made one. Good attempt.
Yep.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah. This last question was from to Gibby, from on Twitter.
Hey, to Gibby. Mm-hmm.
Well, this question initially was supposed to be for our Sunday podcast that we had to reschedule for Easter, but might as well answer it. We always answer everything we get here, so I might as well.
Mm-hmm.
His question is, since it's Easter time, what is Easter time? What is some of your favorite video game Easter eggs?
Ooh.
And he has a bonus question. He has a bonus question to go along with that, so we'll keep that here after we answer this one. There's many good Easter eggs. I've mentioned it before. I like the Hitman Blood Money Easter egg where you go into this like broom closet and you see these rats playing poker. That was one of my favorite ones. There's a lot of really kind of funny Easter eggs that Hitman games have. They always have like this very dark sense of humor in their games.
Mm-hmm. There's always it's very Tarantino-like with how dark the humor is and just how wickedly delicious everything, how the writing and the characters and kind of the ironic deaths in a lot of instances. Easter eggs. I've got a few.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead. I was just looking at some. I was looking at some ones online just to get an idea.
Oh yeah. The Star Wars Rogue Squadron, you can play the car from Blues Brothers. I always thought that was an enjoyable one. In Psychonauts, there's a little Easter egg of, I think, a man's fiance programmed into one of the buildings. And I thought that's always just like a little cute one and very, very fun. There was one that was on the tip of my tongue. Please go ahead. No, I got it. I actually, funny that we should talk about BioShock 2, because one of my favorite ones is Schrodinger's cat in a box.
Oh.
And that's a good one. And very, very interesting little Easter eggs that they got there.
I was looking at a few here from kind of this list here. There's actually like an Easter egg in Halo 3 where it's just saying it was somebody wishing a happy birthday to somebody I think I don't know if it was in the credits or during the loading screen. If I clicking on the right stick during the loading screen on Christmas Day, like the Calendar Man thing, you can change the console clock. If you want to see it, you get a special message, and it just pretty much says "Happy Birthday, Lauren." That's kind of like a little Easter egg there.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, you do some weird things.
I always
to
like those.
Get those Easter eggs sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Some things you wouldn't even expect, and they say it took like 5 years for someone to find that out.
Oh, you know what is a great one? Is the Arkham Asylum Easter egg, where you had to place like explosive 3 bat symbol explosive gels on the wall inside of Arkham Asylum in a certain area that didn't show up on any, like, it didn't show up on the bat radar or anything, and then it leads into a room that teases Arkham City. And it took so long for anyone to find it that the developers just, like, they announced Arkham City already. And I think it was actually close to coming out, and they just revealed, like, okay, listen, we've had this Easter egg and no one's been able to find it, so here it is.
Yeah, that's insane. Usually people stumble upon it by accident or purposely look for something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that stuff like that just kind of blows my mind sometimes. How sometimes they are able to find that or not. I know there's a cool Easter egg going back to like Metal Gear Solid. I know we talked about how there's like an Easter egg for Metal Gear Solid 3, I believe, where you end up you're going into this virtual reality, virtual alternate reality in the game within the. It was kind of like teasing towards like Raiden having his own game.
Oh yeah, it was like a horror themed video game where it was like you were chopping up vampires, and it was like very rough, and it was essentially just like you were just mowing through a bunch of different bad guys and slicing them up.
Right. And then I think about it, I actually discovered this randomly when I was playing Hitman Absolution. There's a mission, I think it was like End of the Road. That's the one where you're in the middle of the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And you choose to like let the guy you kidnapped go, or you can shoot him. There's something that happens if you shoot every nearby vulture. Your target's gonna try to escape, and then they're gonna get run over by an ice cream truck. and
That's hilarious.
Of all things, like the ice cream truck to be in the middle of the desert. I mean, that's the randomest shit ever. I was blown away by it.
Mm-hmm. Developers come up with some pretty good ones, just like very random, very strange. I think in one of the Saints Row games, either 2 or 3, there's a giant stuffed bunny that rises out of the ocean and then goes back down into the ocean if you go out to the sea in a certain way. And oh my gosh, it was just so weird because I didn't discover it at the time, and I thought like, okay, I'm just swimming out here, and then I saw it come up like, what the hell is this? Surprise! It's a giant stuffed bunny.
I don't know if you noticed this. There's one I saw here online. If in Mission 6 of Halo 4, you'll find 2 Marines standing near a forklift. If you wait around long enough, they'll begin talking, and you'll hear the voices of Conan O'Brien and Andy Richter.
I've never heard that. No.
That is
wow.
Crazy.
I gotta check that out.
So yeah, for those who are curious, it's in Mission 6. You'll find 2 Marines standing near a forklift in Mission 6 of Halo 4. One of the infamous and famous ones that I'll always remember. We've talked about it too. Just going back again to Metal Gear Solid is that the end Easter egg.
The end,
almost always Kojima and the Metal Gear Solid franchise has always been known for adding these little weird Easter eggs into games. So that one's like one of the most clever ones ever, and I didn't even discover it till after even beating it. It's like, if I knew, I wouldn't have spent this whole time trying to find this old man for like the last 30 minutes to beat him. I could have just saved my game and stopped playing for 2 weeks and watch him die of old age.
It's just so clever, and you can actually kill the end again in a really different way, where you, if you get a sniper rifle early enough, and if you have that cutscene where they wheel out the end of the first case, you can actually shoot him in the head, and then he dies, and then he just explodes, and, based on the only place that you could actually snipe from, one of his wheels on his wheelchair just comes flying at you and hits you in the face. It's like, Kojima is just a freaking, he's a madman and a genius. I love him.
Exactly. So now that we have that question, the bonus question we got from Tag here is, what is your favorite jelly bean flavor? Yeah.
Ooh.
That's a tough one right there.
I got to look this up. I don't want to get this wrong.
Can't say I've had a lot of jelly beans in my lifetime. I can't say I'm a huge fan of them, but if I were to choose one, I'm trying to think what ones I've had before that I like the most. I'd probably say blueberry. I like the blueberry.
I got to go with crushed pineapple.
Crushed pineapple.
I love me some pineapple. It's like, so sweet and delicious. It is. Pineapple is already candy, and now you're making candy into better candy, and it's delicious.
Jelly belly.
I mean, can't go wrong with a little bit of kiwi. I've never tried caramel corn, but I love caramel, so why not?
The first 8 flavors of Jelly Belly beans were introduced in 1976. They're berry cherry, root beer, cream soda, tangerine, green apple, lemon, licorice, and grape. The more you know.
The more you know. Did you happen to know that off the bat, or was it some interesting trivia that you just read?
That was online right there. I mean, I'd be insane to tell you if that came out of my head. I don't know. I would be more worried that random fact came out of me. I would.
Hey, I mean, I've sometimes got that strange Spock-like moment of information clarity, so I wouldn't blame you if you happen to know.
Well, thank you very much, everybody who contributed to tonight on the podcast, for your wonderful questions, as always. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much, everybody in the chat room listening. Mr. Conviction, Steve Rome, thank you for stopping by.
Absolutely.
Always appreciate the love and all the support that you guys give us just by showing up here. I mean, you guys showing up here and listening, just as much support and motivation for us to keep going. Every other week or two, we do this since we're on that quota to do the 2 podcasts a month, which is very substantial, I think. Especially during now, which is not much to talk about in terms of gaming news or anything like that. We kind of evolved and expanded upon just doing that. So always nice, as always, to discuss many other things in entertainment and just things we've been up to personally. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 161 Bloody Thumbs Podcast. Thank you very much for you guys listening live and downloading the episode. As always, we'll provide the links below in the show notes to everything we're doing. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch,
BGB.com,
and the BGB.com, home of Bloody Thumbs Podcast, and Audible.com, audibletrial.com /Bloody Thumbs. If you guys don't know already, you can get a free audiobook on us if you go through that link. You get a free 30-day trial, and you get a free audiobook. You can, it's easy. You sign up, you can download a free audiobook, and if you want to cancel it, you can, and you can still keep that audiobook. You see how awesome that is, and it also helps us out. We get a nice little compensation for forwarding you guys over to this service. So even if you don't use it on the regular, you could just go in there, maybe download an audiobook you've been interested in. Maybe some Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is coming back this year, so maybe we'll catch up on some of the books if you're interested in getting into that. So I don't see why not.
And hey, it helps.
Free.
It helps us. It's free for you. It's a win-win-win for everybody.
And we are available on iTunes as well. You can search Bloody Thumbs Podcast. All the latest episodes go up there. Unfortunately, due to some things in the past and how I uploaded our episodes prior, all the episodes aren't really on there. But our latest ones are on there. So if you want to get hopped in there and listen to the last few episodes, they will be up there. Oh, you missed the podcast, King. I know, but you will be able to listen to the podcast either on the Mixler. It does save on there if you want to listen to it, or on the bgb.com when it's all fully edited. I'm going to add some bonus features and extra little segments into the downloaded episodes. So you may want to wait a day or two to listen to that.
You're a kind man for doing that.
Yes,
we give our no worries, King. We're always happy to have our viewers and our fans with us all the time, and please tune in for the next. Oh, you missed this. You missed this in your TV show. I am sorry, but hey, you know what? We'll have another episode. Just wait on for that and send in some questions, and we'd love to have you on the next recording.
For sure. When you ever get time, tweet us. Tweet us any question you want. Anything video game related, anything that you're curious to know our thoughts on. Be sure to tweet them over my way or over at ch_gorog on Twitter. As I mentioned, we're on iTunes. Most of our latest episodes are on there. Those are the important ones. I don't know anyone who's going to go back and listen to the first episode, but if you are interested, I can provide you those links. It's a very long time ago. Seems like we did that first episode. I remember to this day.
It only took me 2 days to grow a beard. I remember those days.
Oh man, those were the days. I can't even grow one, but hey, I can look forward to that day.
That's good times, man, and good times for the future.
Absolutely. So keep it locked, folks, on the BGB. That's our home for the podcast, as we'll be posting this podcast once I get it fully edited and add everything that I want to add, just for some additional bonus content. Just very, very small, but I think you little guys get to enjoy out of it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we had a good discussion today. Got a lot to talk about. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time as always, CH, for coming out here tonight.
Same to you, my brother. High five.
High five.
Through the digital sphere. High five. Clap.
There you go.
That's how we got it. There we go. There we go.
So take it easy, folks. This is episode 161 of Bloody Thumbs Podcast. I am Splinter47 signing off.
I am C.H. Korog, wishing you a fond farewell.
Have a good night, folks. Take it easy. Be kind. Be courteous. Stomp out bullying. There you go.
Bye-bye, everyone.